Hi, Sam and I really enjoyed sharing with you all the other night on Marriage Tune-Up, but there were a few questions that we didn't get to answer because we ran out of time. And there was one question in particular that stood out to me, I think because it's something that I have to struggle with myself so often. And I wanted just to share a few thoughts on that question. So here's the question. The lady writes, I'm terrible at sharing due to feeling shame or not put together. And she says, that's not my husband's fault. How do you practically, in the moment, fight against withholding and actually share? Now, like I said, this question points to a dilemma that I face a lot. When I focus in on my insufficiencies and my inadequacies, my weaknesses, I tend to withdraw. So what do I do in that moment? What can we do in the moment? Now, please don't think I'm mentally off balance. But what I have to do is I talk to myself. I have to start putting gospel and truth into my head before it spirals downward out of control. I remind myself that my messes are not my identity. That's not who I am. Christ is my identity. And Ephesians 1:6 says, to the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he has made us accepted in the beloved. Listen, I go back to that verse so often. It is my rescue verse. Now yesterday, which was May 12th, on the Family Fortress Ministries Facebook page, I mentioned a message that our pastor preached on Mother's Day. In that message, he said that my failure in front of others is part of the plan. What? What kind of crazy plan is that? It's a plan that my mess-ups will generate praise because of the glory of his grace. Because of him, I'm not hopeless. Because of him, I have a renewed life. You see, instead of diving into despair, I'm to make a beeline for the cross. I can be completely honest and transparent when I'm at the foot of the cross, because his grace is bigger than all my failures. His grace is bigger than all of my inadequacies. I am accepted there. And this self-talk starts to generate an awe and a worship. I marvel that I'm rescued and covered by the love of Jesus. And I'm proof that Christ redeems the hopeless. I have to lean into what he's done and ponder the magnificence of his grace. You think about it, this holy, majestic, perfect God suffered unimaginably, both emotionally and physically for me. For someone insignificant and unworthy as me, he's made me acceptable by giving me his righteousness. Now, thinking correctly is key. When I enter an uncomfortable situation, I must follow the advice of my husband. He always says, don't worry, worship. Because when I worship, I have balance. I have humility because of my neediness. And at the same time, I have confidence in the love and the grace of this unfailing God. I can be transparent about both my failures and my Redeemer. Intentionally worshiping Jesus because of his love is so amazing, dispels the desire to withdraw. 1 John 4:18 says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment or torment, and whoever fears has not been perfected in love. When I acknowledge that perfect love of Jesus, when I think on it, when I embrace it, when I'm thrilled with it, that's worship. And that casts out this debilitating fear that interferes with transparency. It gives me balance. balance of humility and a balance of my Redeemer. Now, as a resource to feed your mind with correct thinking, I highly recommend The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness by Keller. Really short book with big print, but it's the type of book you can read over and over regularly, and it just trains your mind to think correctly. Another resource that has meant so much to me is the book J. Curve. It's life-changing. It's by Paul Miller, and this book gets me to process everything that life presents as a gospel opportunity to display grace. And I pray that these thoughts will stay in your heart, and that when you find yourself wanting to withdraw from transparency, that you'll make a beeline to the cross, and that you'll start worshiping there. And in that worship, that you'll be able to speak in both humility and confidence.